Hey there, I was recently contacted by an owner of a MMA and a martial arts and a karate studio that's based in Wisconsin, in Schofield, Wisconsin, which is near a slightly bigger city, which is called Nassau. Um, and he asked, how do I promote my business, right? And this is a very interesting, for me, it was an interesting kind of video to do because uh, when we chatted, we built good rapport, and I thought he was like doing really cool things. And I went to the website, and it looked like they have like really cool events and workshops, and like they do stuff in the park, they do stuff in the studio. So it's a really cool kind of martial arts sort of business. And by the way, I actually used to do some martial arts, but I never ended up becoming good at it. I didn't become a Chuck Norris, but I actually have some history with this kind of stuff, so I like it. And so for me, it was interesting. How do you promote this kind of a business in a market that's not very competitive, right? Because it's like, if you're in like a gigantic city, there are a million competitors, and they're all, like pretty good. Like they all have to compete against each other, and that makes them, hire agencies, hire like marketing agencies, hire a lot of help, put a lot of money into that, so they become pretty strong at marketing. But if you're in like a mid-competitive market, which is kind of like this particular martial arts studio, and it's called the Premier Mixed Martial Arts. By the way, if you're like in Wisconsin, if you're in these areas, check them out. They're pretty cool. And I'll have the links to them in the description of the video and at the end of the video. So you check them out actually. So this was interesting because it's sort of like mid-market, right? It's not that competitive, and almost all the time when I coach people, it's like I have to be the bearer of bad news and say, oh my God, you're in a very competitive niche, and like it's really difficult. Here, it's not that difficult. Here, if we take the right steps, there's like a really high chance to get a lot of exposure online. And if you've seen my videos before, you know my drill for promoting a local service, right? You gotta get on the Google map, you gotta get your Yelp listings and all your like local service listings like in really good shape and in order, and get your previous customers to give you real legitimate 5-star reviews. You can literally reach out to them. Yelp has terms of service. I think on Yelp terms of service, they specifically suggest not to do that, but everybody does it, right? And those local listing sites, you got to be the best one on them. You've got to be the best one on them. And again, if this was a competitive environment, there would be already like strong players, like with like 30 reviews or 50 reviews or hundreds of reviews. But in this case, there was like nobody with really a lot of good reviews. So just 1 or 2 reviews can propel business right to the front of that, become the number one in their niche for this kind of a thing, for their search, right? For like, for example, in this case, it would be for like martial arts studios. And if you're number one, guess what? Then the first one has a very high chance, the first one in Yelp or the first one in like yellowpages.com or whatever, has a very high chance to be the one that's actually shown up in Google, because those local listing sites tend to show up in Google's first page of results. So things like that, right? And there are also things like you want to make sure that your website has the right keywords and things like that, and that you do have enough, not too many in this kind of case, just a few links from relevant, good kind of like other sites will propel this type of site somewhere in a pretty good spot in search results, in organic search results for Google for its actual site. So those are the kind of things, there's much more. You want to, of course, leverage, I guess you call them business partnerships, or professional referrals, where businesses in your niche or whoever can refer clients to you, and of course you incentivize them for a fee and things like that. So those are just some of the things, but whatever you do, it's easier to compete. So just a little, so you don't have to be the most, you don't have to, as a business owner, you don't have to become like the most amazing marketer. You just have to do the basics right, and make sure that every platform on which you focus you are number one, and it's not that hard to become number one. And it actually doesn't necessarily have to take a lot of time to start to get clients, right? Just a few reviews on the review sites, on the local listing sites, get yourself on the map, do a little bit of off website SEO, make sure on-site SEO has the right keywords, and you should be good. You should also, by the way, because this kind of a business is very social, and this kind of a business is very visual, right? This lends itself well to Instagram, YouTube, right? Because you can show all the moves, right, in the video. How to like break someone's wrist, how to throw somebody over the shoulder, right? You can do these videos. It's pretty cool, and you can establish yourself a really awesome YouTube channel long term. I don't actually know how competitive YouTube is for this niche. I imagine it's a little bit competitive because it's a pretty cool niche and a lot of people are interested in, especially MMA is so popular that there's a lot of MMA stuff. But you can certainly give it a try. It's an interesting thing to do, to kind of have all those kind of tutorials for how to do all the moves on YouTube. That's actually, I think it would be kind of cool. So those are kind of like maybe slightly unusual ways to promote a local service by YouTube. For this case, it will be on YouTube and Instagram. So that's kind of it. That's kind of how you promote this kind of a business. And maybe I'll follow up one day, and hopefully we will have some good news